What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome into the Sacktown Sports Kings recap coming to you live. I wasn't sure how tonight was going to go. Wasn't sure if it was going to be under some happy emotions or if it was going to be under some incredibly frustrating emotions. But for all of you who I know are tuned in right now and on level 10, the Sacramento Kings somehow, some way pull it out against the San Antonio Spurs here at Golden One Center by a score of 131, 129. Just absolutely unbelievable scenes. I don't think anybody realistically thought that this one was going to go the Kings' way, especially not that last minute. Once De'Aaron Fox fouled out, things got real tight. I think everybody would say that this game wasn't supposed to be this close, that the Kings had no business even being this close with a team like the Spurs. I would definitely tell you that. But, I think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for all of this. And I don't think that's what people want to hear right now. But I do think the more that this team struggles now, I do think hopefully at some point this thing is gonna hit them in the face, and they're gonna understand. Look, we just cannot continue to do this. We cannot continue to not show up against bad teams, against bad opponents. We cannot continue to overlook teams just because they're not good. Um, I definitely think that's what happened tonight. I mean, the Kings had control of this one for a good majority of the game. They were up by as much as 20 points, and we saw that lead completely disappear by the end of the game. There was some lapses in defense. The Kings shot terribly tonight. We'll get into it, but Kevin Huerter was not good again tonight, but it wasn't just Kevin Huerter. When I talk about the shooting, Keegan Murray did not show up tonight. And, you have to figure that on most nights when Keegan and Kevin both aren't shooting or aren't, tonight they didn't even take the attempts. Both of them, Keegan 1 of 3, Huerter 0 of 3. So they only took 6 threes between the two of them. So they're not even taking them. But if they're not making threes on any given night, it's going to be a struggle for this team. They still managed to score 131 points, even though they only hit 10 threes. I think that's a major achievement. They've been attacking the paint a lot more these past couple games. I think they had 82 points in the paint in yesterday's game. They had 76 tonight, which had to be a huge key. When you go in playing a team that doesn't have Victor Wembanyama, who's 7'5", and obviously a huge threat at the rim, you need to take advantage of that. You have to attack the rim. And I thought De'Aaron did another fantastic job of doing that. You saw him just pressure the rim. And he was great while he was out on the floor. Malik had another good night. Sabonis was just a man on a mission tonight. This was, I honestly haven't been a big pusher of Domantas Sabonis for MVP. I just think there's a lot of other guys in this league who are incredibly talented, who are on much better teams record-wise, and I would not say have more impact than Sabonis, but the reality of winning MVP is, you have to have some pretty substantial moments and really, really be carrying your team. And you know what? I think I'm at the point where it's not crazy to say Domantas Sabonis is a legitimate, he should be on the ballot. I'm talking top 5 MVP caliber guy. And I think the fact that you can play that highlight that we just saw on this floor, Domantas Sabonis getting that steal and getting that dunk, that's something that you can play on somebody's MVP highlight reel. That is a massive first off, shout out Keon Ellis for the ball pressure he put. I think it was on Devin Vassell to get Vassell to throw that pass at that time. But for Sabonis to come up in the passing lane, for him to have the presence of mind to be pressuring, I think it was Zach Collins in that moment, and get that steal at that time in the most important part of the game, you get exactly what you needed in that moment. That's huge. That is MVP caliber stuff. Almost swore there. That is MVP caliber stuff. And, that play – this game, the Kings had no business winning. And shout out Malik Monk, who obviously had huge moments down the stretch there. That 3 is one of the biggest just tests of testicular fortitude I've ever seen in my life. The ultimate no, yes shot from Malik. That three, I don't know if I'm going to forget that one for a while. You had a crowd pop that was, I swear it was equivalent of that Kevin Huerter shot against the Utah Jazz last year. Golden One Center erupted when Malik Monk hit that three, and you love to see it completely out of nowhere. And it's obvious, but if Malik doesn't hit that shot, I mean, there's just no way they get the result. So great execution down the stretch. I think they were down 5 to De'Aaron fouls out with 59 seconds left. They challenge it just as a courtesy challenge. Honestly, that was one of those where Mike said, we have an extra timeout. De'Aaron's our best player, obviously, and he fouls out. What's the harm in just challenging this? And if it's unsuccessful, I lose my challenge. There's a minute left anyway. If it is successful, we get to keep our best player in the game and we get the ball. So I understand why he challenges that. Yeah, I mean, when De'Aaron checked out, everybody else checked out too. I think that's when fans started to hit the exits. I'm not going to lie. I saw a couple media members heading for the exits tonight a little prematurely. It was something. It was definitely something, but just great execution down the stretch. And that's huge. That is a real team building moment that we just saw. When your best player is out and you're down and out and you still manage to pull it out without him, that's how this whole team gains confidence. That is a real confidence booster from the entire roster. It's great for Malik for him feeling like, hey, I'm a guy too, as if he has any sort of doubts of that. But for Malik to have, again, on tape, a moment of him again saying, I can do this. If De'Aaron doesn't have it on a given night, or De'Aaron fouls out or whatever, we just want to kind of use De'Aaron as a decoy. Malik's capable. I will say you get some of the bad. That's where, the trade-off of, giving Malik a lot kind of does sometimes rear its ugly head. You saw him get that terrible up and down turnover where he tried to make it look like Zach Collins hit it out of his hand, but realistically, Malik Monk was out of control. He just drove the lane with no plan, jumped in the air with no plan, which is elementary school coaches number one. Do not jump, especially do not jump if you do not know what you're planning to do with the ball. And Malik had no idea. And at that point, I thought it was an absolutely inexcusable turnover at a moment where you really couldn't have it. And it turns out that it was just about the last moment in which you can have something like that. But man, what an exciting game. There hasn't been enough of these this year. We had so many fourth quarter Fox moments last season, so many just in general game winners, especially from De'Aaron as well. The Orlando game winner, the Chicago I'm nice game winner. This was a rare sight for this season. And I think it really, we might look back on this if the Kings do kind of steady the ship here down the stretch, and they can kind of, start to look a lot better heading into the postseason. I think we might look back on this one and say, man, if that San Antonio game doesn't go well, how does that affect the emotions for the rest of this year? Because I don't know how many more ups and downs. I definitely don't know how much more the fan base could take. But this roster has to be sick of just all of the, them themselves. They're a part of it, but they have to be so exhausted and so tired of coming out one night looking like they can beat everybody in the league, and then the next night literally losing to the worst team in the Western Conference. That would have been a tough pill to swallow and a tough thing to get over as a unit. So I'm glad that they don't have to deal with that. I'm glad that tonight brings nothing but good emotions. This is almost the best case scenario, because from the team perspective, they're not going to think about this game as anything more than just what a resilient win, what an exciting win. Obviously, they're not going to think about the fact, oh man, we were way too close with the Spurs. We let them in here for too long. Maybe they'll think about it, but they're not going to let it really. They're not going to internalize it and let it hurt. Because all that you're going to think about when you think about tonight is how this team came together in the last minute of the game, when frankly all the odds, I wouldn't say all the odds were stacked against them, but when pretty much everyone had them counted out, They just kept fighting. They got some defensive stops, which is huge. They got some turnovers, which is huge. And you had HB hit a layup. You had Malik Monk hit a three, and you had Domantas Sabonis get a steal and the dunk on the other end. So it was everybody contributing to the win in the last moment. It wasn't just one guy completely taking over. Wow, yeah, just absolutely incredible. Yeah, and I'm seeing here, Brian, I definitely want to read this comment out because I'm just curious what you guys think about it. This is something Malik, for those obviously who weren't in attendance tonight, this is something Malik Monk actually said on the microphone to the entirety of Golden One Center. Memo to fans at home: booing your players makes them play worse, and cheering makes them play better. Psychology 101. Malik Monk actually addressed this. He told the entire Golden One Center crowd with his post-game interview with Scott Moak after the game. He said, because Malik has talked about this too in the past before. He said, we heard them boos, and I can't say it, but he said, we don't like that S. So Malik's not, and I get it. I personally, I've been in that crowd before. I understand booing them. I've booed people in the past. Bye, Morgan. Thank you. I'm on it right now. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad that you guys made it through the day. Oh, my God. I know. Yes. Shout out Morgan. Morgan and Deuce had the craziest 24 hours I've ever seen in my life. Shout out to those two. Morgan and Deuce literally yesterday, they were in San Francisco to do the Kings pre and post game show, had to drive out to San Francisco to do it. Their day started at about 4:00 yesterday, heading to San Francisco, had to do the post game show. Then they did their podcast. And then after doing their podcast, they had Stockton Kings this morning, as in, yes, at 11 a.m. this morning, they had to report back here at Golden One Center for a Stockton Kings game. Shout out Stockton Kings. They won 130 to 102 or something like that. They absolutely killed the Mexico City Capitanes. They killed them. Colby Jones had 43, but they had to do that at 11 and then come back here to host pre and post game right here at Golden One Center. And now, as Morgan says bye to me, they are literally going to go do night chat right now. I think I see Deuce leaving as well. So shout out those two, of course, friends of the station and personal friends of mine as well. Shout out those two, just always grinding and on their games. But yes, back to this comment. Malik did not like, there's Deuce. Malik does not like the crowd booing. I get it. I understand. I think I'm never going to tell fans how to fan, especially not with this team. This team makes people go crazy. But I get it. I think they deserved it. I definitely think they deserved it today because it was unacceptable. I wouldn't say the effort was unacceptable, which maybe Malik would say, hey, if the other team's just hitting shots, that's not really our fault. Don't blame us for that. If our effort level is low, maybe I can understand that a little bit more. But no, the reality of the situation is, I know the players will say we're all professionals. Anybody on any given night can give it to you, but fans know Wemby's not playing tonight. This is the worst team in the West. They have 13 wins on the season. This one should have been an easy one. And the fact that the Kings played so well and then let them back into the game, I definitely think fans have a right to gripe. The Kings kept it close in the first quarter. They completely blew them out in the second. And then that third quarter, they just let them right back into it. So I get it. These fans are paying their hard-earned money. I know that Kings have raised ticket prices here recently. I get it. I totally get it. I'm actually not siding with Malik on this one. I think fans are in their right to boo. I understand that the players might not like it. I understand the players might play worse, but this is your crowd, and you're here to put on a show. And if the show isn't up to par for what people's expectations are, that's how it goes. That's how it goes in every industry. It's not just sports, but if you're a musician and you guys are messing up a couple notes here and there, and like, yeah, people might boo you. So I don't really have the biggest problem with it, to be honest. But I understand why Malik would feel that way, and I do think that, yeah, sure, it's not productive. It's definitely not productive. But at the same time, I think that in a weird, even if it does make them feel bad and it might not make them play well in that moment, it might recenter them. And I feel like I use that word a lot, but I do think that if you're getting booed, you're going to head to the bench and you're going to say, damn, they're booing us. Like, what do we, like, we got to pick it up. It almost like it's meant to almost be a motivating factor, because no one wants, it's just embarrassing. That's really what it is. It's not rude. It's just, it's embarrassing. And I think that's why the fans are booing, because they feel a level of embarrassment as well. They're out here caping for their team. They want to, boast to Laker fans and Warrior fans about how much better their team is doing than them this season, but they're making it hard. So, it's not just Malik that feels the shame. It's the fans too. So I do agree with you, Brian, 100%. I'm not saying you're wrong, but at the same time, like, fans are fans, and I think fans are totally entitled to feel like, I've been in these seats, and I definitely feel like these guys, they all season they haven't really played up to snuff. And this was not an entertaining game. This was a tough one to watch. The Kings shot 31. Ended up shooting 31% because Malik hit that three at the end. But they were under 30% from three for a majority of this game. A lot of attacks at the rim, and just not a lot of aesthetically pleasing basketball tonight. So yeah, I get it. I definitely understand why fans boo, and I don't have that big of a problem with it. Short King, same emotions on that Monk three. I was yelling, "We don't need a three! We don't need a three!" And then he made it. That's interesting. I actually wasn't in that moment. I was thinking they could really use a three. I wasn't thinking they absolutely didn't need to take one, because there was probably about I want to say like 27 seconds left. Oh no, actually, no, there's 24 seconds left when he made it, because there was no shot clock when San Antonio had that ball off after the inbounds. So yeah, I mean, in a way, the three is pretty much do or die at that point. It's either they make it, the game is tied, or he misses it, and the game is just completely over. With the two, even if it's a lay-in, you still have to play the foul game. Yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that three was just the ultimate no, yes, oh my God, elation. What a shot, man. I really don't think that there's anybody else on this team that would have the guts to take that shot. I don't think De'Aaron's taking that. Not like in a bad way guts, just like that's a supreme level of confidence to pull that, because Malik's feet weren't set. He had just ran out to the 3-point line, and he pulled it with no hesitation. And that's some sicko stuff right there. That's when you think your S doesn't smell. And I aspire to have that level of confidence, and that's why Malik is so desperately needed on this team, and it's why I think he sticks out so much. I think it's why fans love him and notice him so much when he's out there, because he just plays with a different level of course, Sabonis plays hard, but Malik just plays with a different ferocity, a different swagger. Like, it's really different what he brings to this squad. So I just cannot give enough praise to Malik's game tonight and hitting that shot. Interesting. Yeah, real raw and uncut. We're not going to get too deep into this because we're feeling good today, but San Antonio is definitely one of the teams out there this offseason that's going to have a lot of cap space. San Antonio desperately needs a point guard. Trey Jones is really their only point guard. You've seen them roll out Jeremy Sohan at their point guard spot before. So these guys really could use a point guard and I think they have more money than anybody else this offseason. So if they want to, they can make a real bid at Malik. And not only can they make a bid, they can say, hey, we will guarantee you a starting spot because we don't have anybody in front of you and we wouldn't even consider it. And then Malik gets 30 minutes a night. He gets a starting role. He gets, the NBA. These guys think about their money as well. You get Texas. You get, low state taxes and all that stuff. You also get to play under Greg Popovich. You also get to play with Victor Wembanyama, and you get to be known as, Victor Wembanyama's point guard, which is going to carry a lot of cachet, and you're going to get a lot of attention in general if you're able to kind of be that second fiddle to Wemby. So I think there's a lot of attractive things for Malik this offseason in general, but specifically when it comes to San Antonio, they can make things especially interesting for him. And I think that conversation will just get louder and louder as we get closer and closer to the offseason, especially with Huerter playing how he's playing right now. I just think it's going to make a lot of people start to question things. Oh, Kobe Jones. I was thinking about it. You see his 40 whatever point game tonight in Stockton, and it does make you think. Hi. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
How's your
pretty
blood
good?
pressure? Or your
heart
level?
Yeah, I can feel it like beating through my neck right now.
Yikes.
Things are not easy, Jason.
No,
it just never is. When did you honestly think that game was over? When De'Aaron fouls out with 57 seconds left, I was saying I saw some media people leaving. I definitely saw people started heading. They started heading for the stands, and I was like, I understand, but
yeah. I don't generally quit on games, but I thought that was over.
That was over.
Yeah,
that was 100% over.
It was going down the too familiar path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that Malik shot?
I was like, is he going to do I actually thought he'd pull up for three on the initial part, then maybe a layup, then circled out and shot the three. Amazing. And then Sabonis overplay.
Yeah.
Steal. I mean,
that's a different level of stones.
Yes.
Malik, I cannot get over the fact that he even decided to take that shot.
Yeah.
It was just insane. I can't believe they got this win.
What a swing, though, right? Like it's as bad of a loss of the season. It doesn't matter now. It's a stack on win.
That's exactly what I was saying. I was this is kind of the best case scenario for the Kings in terms of results, because they're not going to think about, oh, this was a really close. They're just going to think about that last minute and say, wow, we came together. This game was completely over, and so, if you are going to make it a close game with the Spurs, I kind of think this was, in a weird way, the best outcome.
It worked out.
It worked out, I guess.
Stack them up.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to help Mike Brown in questioning Mike Brown or anything like that. But it was, I think it was a good team performance. I think, it took them all coming together, and it was, you had HB get a layup at the end. You had Malik hit the three. You had Sabonis get the steal and a score.
Season best free throws. They only missed one.
Was it really?
Yeah, and think about it, they didn't miss any. The Spurs.
Did they really?
Yeah, they made
21
all of them,
for 20,
and the Kings missed one. And if it's a normal night for the Kings, they lose, right?
Yeah.
They would have
absolutely.
missed about 8.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that they also shot under 30, or I think Malik's three put them over 30% from three.
Wow.
They usually don't win games where they don't hit shots. Keegan and Kevin combined for 6 3-point attempts too.
3 points total, I think. It's a weird one. Yeah, but the other guys like Keon was good.
Incredible.
Davion, he looked confident.
Yeah.
But it's a win.
It's a win, and that's all that matters. At this point in the season, beggars can't be choosers. You got to get the result, and just you got to live with it. And on to the next one. When is it? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday
look, in the night, the Mavs won, some other teams won, but the Warriors didn't. So, the Warriors have a battle. It just, you got to get through them, just knock the games off, and get as many wins as you can.
Couldn't have said it better. There you go.
Yeah, you could have. You probably did.
It's fine.
What are they saying over there?
Let's see here. Someone's asking about, did you see Colby Jones' stat line in Stockton
40,
today? 43 and 8
and how about a triple-double for Mason Jones? The Jones.
That's right. Yeah. A triple-double for Mason Jones. So people are asking, is Colby, could Colby maybe sneak some minutes in here by the end of the year? I don't know. We know that Kevin Huerter's minutes are kind of up for grabs right now. This win was good at the beginning. Third game, it's 4 nights. That's interesting. Okay.
I hope they're accepting the win. Ish.
Kind of. Yeah. There's a
it.
couple people who. What'd you think about? Did you hear Malik at the end of the game here? What he told the crowd?
No, we were talking to Barnes.
So Malik goes on the post game or the whatever, the post-game thing with Moke.
Oh, the beat. Yeah.
He talks about the booing. He talks about the crowd booing. Yeah,
he doesn't like it.
Yeah, he said that. He said, I don't like that S.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so definitely interesting.
I'm in that camp. I wouldn't, but, you can't tell people how to fan. But, I don't.
They were playing pretty bad.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I wouldn't do it, but that doesn't mean.
Agreed.
But if that helped, I don't know if it did.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I didn't realize he said that.
Yeah,
wow.
It was pretty crazy. Yeah. It was good on Scott Moke. He tried to kind of keep it pushing. He was like, let's I know, buddy. You've said it before. Okay. And then kept it pushing it.
Yeah, because we heard Sabonis said kind of the same thing. Like, he's like, I'm not a fan of that, but because I think his line is like, we're working hard for the city. I'm like, ooh, so he just wanted to be like, and I think it's sometimes when they lose, people automatically go effort.
Right. I don't think tonight was effort.
Credit.
Right?
Spurs were amazing.
They were amazing tonight. Yeah.
But that's bad. At least they won.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's part of it, right? I mean, it's part of the game. And, I do think in a weird way, like you said, like I think that it can help. Like, you get booed and you're like, we need to get this thing together. But I definitely understand how it could bring emotions down and make you feel like what are we doing this for? If you're gonna boo us, like let's then we'll really roll over and lay down. So
I like your setup.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a work in progress. We've came a long way. For everyone in here who's been here all year, definitely thank you. But we've came a really long way.
Good.
Yeah, I saw Deuce and Morgan walk by too. I was like, I'm glad that they even made it through the day.
I know they had a doubleheader.
They had a crazy 24 hours. So I'm glad we all made it through this, man. Yeah.
I got to wake up in a few hours.
I know. Yeah, Jason, go get home. Get home, get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, request, what would you like to do for Friday Fun and Games?
We're going to have Brendan. We're going to have Brendan with us.
What should we do? Anything in his wheelhouse or not in his wheelhouse?
Just not hitting the post for sure. Are we going to have Dave too?
Yeah. Not in.
Yeah, not in studio. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always a fan of Wavelength, but we can't do it every week.
Did we do that? No,
we did it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Well, stay tuned for Friday Fun and Games. Bye, Jason. The one and only Jason Ross joining us for a nice little moment there. Let's see here. Just checking through your guys' comments. Shortcake. You could say that again. Not only this is, I'm so glad you brought this up. The San Antonio Spurs are literally the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. This season, they shoot, they are not. They are 34.8% from three. Last place is the Grizzlies at 34.7. My fault. I misspoke. But yes, the Spurs are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA. And what do they shoot tonight? 47% on 34 shots from the perimeter. So I just don't know what to say anymore, y'all. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy that these guys are just certifiably the worst team in the NBA at shooting free throws and at defending the three-point line. Those are just facts. It shows up every single night, with, as Jason pointed out, with the exception of tonight from the free throw line, it shows up every single night that this team misses free throws when they shouldn't, and they cannot. It doesn't matter if it's you and me. It doesn't matter if it's Victor Wembanyama and Allen Iverson, Ray Allen. Doesn't matter who it is. You are going to shoot the lights out when you play the Sacramento Kings, especially when you play them at Golden One Center, which apparently this is a shooter's gym. I'm fully convinced at this point that this is just partially at fault of the wonderful architects that I'm sure designed the Golden One Center here, because there's no other explanation. There's no way that every single team can just walk in here and shoot the lights out. It has to be something with the lighting. It's got to be something with the backboard depth perception to the seats or something. I don't know. I feel like I'm losing my mind because I do not understand how every single team, even the worst three-point shooting teams in the league, come in here and just start acting correct. I have their home and road splits. Teams shoot, let's see here. I guess there's not that big of a difference. Teams shoot 39% here no, I'm sorry. Teams shoot 39% on the Kings, 39.5% on the Kings on the road. Here at Golden One Center, they shoot 39.9%, which has now gone up to over 40%. The Kings themselves, the number I was going to read there at first, the Kings themselves shoot 35.9% from three on the road. Here at Golden One Center, they shoot 38%. So clearly there is something about this gym that just makes people elite level 3-point shooters. I don't know what it is, but we got to figure out how to solve that, because this is going to become a problem if everybody's just going to come in here and become the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Yeah, and this is what Jason just said. He said, people don't want to talk about it, but Spurs did play really well tonight, especially without Victor. They are 0-6 this year without Victor. They lose by an average margin of 11.5 points per game in those games. And so I was really surprised at just how well they were able to play. Trey Jones had 12 assists. They had 4 guys score over 20. Zach Collins had a quiet 22. Keldon Johnson had 22. Malachi Branham had 23. And Devin Vassell, who just is a certified Kings killer. You can add him to the list. Devin Vassell is officially a player who, if you're playing the Sacramento Kings and your name is Devin Vassell, you're going to have a nice night. That much is apparent. So add him to the list, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait for the next time Keldon Johnson gets to play in this building, because I'm sure he's going to drop a 40-piece. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, Brian. Yeah, Kings weren't hitting shots and Spurs were. However, the effort was there for the Kings. So I stand by my statement that booing was not motivating, but cheering is. Absolutely. No, I mean, I feel like I am being a little bit on both sides of the fence here, and I feel like I do need to pick a side. In general, I would say that your statement is I agree with your statement pretty much. Both parts of it. I do think the Spurs were definitely hitting shots, and we saw that the Kings weren't. I don't think it was an effort thing tonight. I do agree with you that the Spurs weren't playing well because the Kings were laying down or overlooking them. I do think that it was a matter of the Spurs were hitting shots, and I do think that, let's face the reality of the situation. Victor Wembanyama has the ball in his hand a lot, and I'm sure that there's a lot of guys here in San Antonio who feel a little bit like, hey, I can do some things too. I know this Wemby guy's, the future and everything is through him, but right now I can help us win. And it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a little bit of that tonight. For all those who remember LeBron's rookie year, there was famous quotes from Ricky Davis, I think, said before LeBron got to Cleveland. They asked him, hey, there's a lot of hype around this rookie from Cleveland who's looking like he's going to go to the Cavs. What are your guys' thoughts? And Ricky Davis famously said, he's still a rookie. It don't matter. Like, he's going to have to fall in line and be a role player and find his niche in the NBA just like everybody else. And he was killed for it at the time. And I do think that is a sentiment that a lot of players on the Spurs probably have. And that's not sourced or anything. It's just, it's just human nature, I think. I just think everybody, Devin Vassell, I definitely think Keldon Johnson, somebody who probably falls into that, who was like, hey, I've been on this Spurs team that's been struggling for the past 3-4 years. And I was a part of what was supposed to be building. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes in, takes all my shots. I get it. Let's see here. Yeah, absolutely. Blue Velvet. That's just kind of, I know Shortcake said she wasn't thinking you had to have a 3. You definitely didn't, but this was more my thought process. I was like, you're going to need a 3 here at some point, because Lord knows the Kings don't want to get into a free throw shooting battle. So, I was kind of like, I didn't mind the Malik shot. And at that point, too, it was like you guys kind of already squandered the lead. So I would much rather just kind of get this thing over with and figure it out now. Either make the shot or don't. And Malik made the shot. And everything was kind of gravy after that. What a game. Whoa, airborne. I don't know if you're being serious or not. He said, I'm at the hospital right now. That game sent me into a hypertensive crisis. Well, I don't know if you're joking or if you're being serious. I hope you're good, but I might be right there behind you, because I almost swore again. That was stressful. That game was stressful. Sabonis at presser. With the boos, I just try to ignore that. I don't agree with it. I understand it. We're here trying to fight for the city. I appreciate the sentiment, Sabonis, for sure. I don't know. I mean, like, I understand the emotion of wanting to boo. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm actually really interested to hear a lot of people's perspective. This is definitely something where I think everybody kind of has their own unique perspective on it. And I think everyone would probably acknowledge that there's no right answer, but I just think everybody has their own personal feelings on it. And I think it's kind of why it's on every individual to decide if they're going to boo or not. And, you know, I think a lot of individuals today decided that this was worthy of it. And I definitely think that, you know, it was fitting. When they booed, I wasn't like, wow, really, guys? Or, oh, I'm not sure if that's deserved. It felt like the appropriate time to boo. I don't know. I definitely understood the timing. Yes, love J Ross. J Ross in the house. I should have shown J Ross this. J Boss. Love the J Ross. Man, y'all love Jason. Who doesn't, though? Who really doesn't? Jason sounds different from the radio. That's hilarious. I hope you guys were able to hear Jason pretty well. I know he wasn't right next to my mic here. This J Ross sounds cool. Shout out Nate. Yeah, I like that beam. I haven't even seen the beam yet. I hope I can get outside by the time. Wow, wow, did they really? Yeah, 52 of 102. That means they must have gotten a ton of offensive rebounds, huh? 14 offensive rebounds for the Kings tonight. How many turnovers? 12 turnovers to 13. Nothing really big there. So, yeah, I mean, big offensive rebounding night. If I'm not mistaken, Keon got a couple offensive rebounds. Sabonis with 5 offensive rebounds tonight. That's crazy. Yeah, Nate. Kings win tonight despite Huerter putting up 0. Dude, it's crazy. The fact that Keegan and Kevin combined for 3 points on 1 of 6 from 3, combined 1 of 9 from the field. That's terrible. I don't know what Keegan. You know, they played Keegan 30 minutes. They must have liked his defense. I'll be excited to look at the defensive numbers later tonight. But yeah, man, this Kevin Huerter thing I think is going to get a whole lot uglier before it gets better. I think I said it earlier on the show today. I might have said it yesterday on the broadcast on the post-game show as well. But I'm kind of curious that if Kevin Huerter not only is going to get to the bench here pretty soon, if he might start collecting some DMPs, because, you know, we've seen Keon Ellis really have a big impact on a night like tonight. See Davion Mitchell playing a lot better. And I haven't hated at all what I've seen from Chris Duarte since the All-Star break. So I would not hate if for 1 game, for 2 games, maybe for 3 games, Kevin Huerter gets a couple DMP CDs, and maybe you see what it looks like playing those 3 guys in the starting guard and backup guard minutes. And of course, Malik Monk thrown in there as well. But I wonder how much longer we have here of Kevin Huerter being given. What did he end up playing tonight? Because it looked like he was on pace for another 11-minute game. He finished with 16 minutes. He played 1 minute in the fourth quarter. He played, how many did he even play in the second half? So he played 7 minutes in the second half, 9 minutes in the first half. That. I mean, coaches, they say actions speak louder than words, and with coaches, their minutes speak louder than everything. That is how they communicate to the players, is by taking their minutes away. So the fact that Kevin Huerter last night gets 11 minutes or just under 12 minutes, tonight he gets under 20, he gets up to 16. I just feel like Mike Brown is starting to signal that he's looking elsewhere at that 2-guard spot. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Keon played more minutes than Huerter did tonight. Keon played 17-25. Huerter played 16-23. And Davion played 14-19. So you're already inching pretty close to those guys just pretty much taking over Kevin Huerter's minutes. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. Interesting, Alex. I did not see this. Apparently Stephen Curry rolled his ankle. I'm not going to read too much into that because Anthony Edwards also twisted his ankle today in the first quarter and then immediately checked back in. Not immediately, but a couple minutes later in the first quarter, checked back in. And last time I checked in on Ant's stats, he had 43 tonight and the most insane block I've ever seen in my life. And of course, Anthony Edwards is not Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is not Anthony Edwards. But I'm more just saying before we go out here saying, oh my gosh, Warriors cooked. It looks like Steph might be missing a good amount of time. I haven't seen the ankle roll. Maybe it is really bad, but I'm going to wait for something official to come out before I won't say get too excited, but before I start drawing any conclusions. Really? That's hilarious. I took my sister-in-law tonight because she's a Spurs fan. What a roller coaster. This is probably the perfect game to take an opposing fan too. Like a result like this is like the best ideal situation for you have a friend or whatever that you want to bring that is a fan of the opposing team, because they got some fun. They had a moment where they were ready to rub it in your face. And then, of course, you get the ultimate last laugh, which is, of course, the best part about it. But this is definitely the perfect game to bring an opposing fan to. So good on you. Hope y'all had a fantastic time. And, definitely really excited that you get the last laugh there. Dre lost his lid. Really? I mean, yeah. Did this have to do with the Steph rolling his ankle? Like, was it a Kawhi Leonard, Zaza Pachulia situation? What happened there? What happened there? Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, where a lot of people are at. It has nothing to do with Kevin Huerter, the person. Shout out to everyone who watched the Run episode with that featured Kevin Huerter that aired the other day. I watched it. It was awesome. It makes it really hard to say these things that we're saying about him. If you watch it, it just really humanizes him. And it's just a good insight or good look at, what it took for Kevin to get here, and, how not really beating the odds, but just, Kevin never really believed he was going to be in the NBA until after, I think he said, his first year in college. Like, he just thought he was having a good time. He thought he was getting a scholarship to Maryland. And, it just kind of, in the best way possible, it just kind of spiraled from there. I mean, now you see him struggling with this team. I think it's really tough for him because he felt like after last year, he kind of found a home. Sacramento really embraced him. He started every single game for this team. He averaged the most points he had ever averaged in his career. And then this season has just been tons of up and downs, tons of inconsistency. It starts this, even in the preseason, there was conversations of should the Kings maybe start Chris Duarte. So it's been in a lot of ways a season from hell for Kevin. So definitely nothing personal against him. I really like him. I think he's one of the cooler guys on the team. Somebody that I could actually see like in real life, me and Kevin Huerter getting along. But unfortunately, I do think that the more and more he's playing here, the more teams are hunting him defensively, the more he's just getting singled out. And man, him missing his shots just feels like it's compounding onto all of this. And so I say this because I think that there's a real care behind it. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch this guy because he feels it. Every time he misses, you can feel his shoulder slump. You can feel him almost playing back criticism in his head of, oh, there goes Huerter again. Like he can hear the crowd almost in his head. And that's just the last place you want to be, especially for a shooter, which is all, it's feels like it's mostly mental with those guys. It's tough. It's really, really tough to watch what Kevin's going through right now. This is interesting for sure. What if the booze causes to lose Malik? Every team boos. So I don't think that, Malik's going to hold it to Sacramento fans specifically. But for sure. It's if it continues for sure, if the Kings boo them in a playoff game, maybe there's a chance Malik feels a type of way about it. I don't know if tonight is going to ultimately be the thing we look back at the night that we actually lost Malik Monk. Let's see here. I only boo back. This is the answer. I know I said I think everybody has an opinion and there's not one right answer. I was wrong. This is actually the only right answer. That is hilarious. Shout out Marvin, though. Shout out Marvin, who's found a new home in Washington and is absolutely thriving. It's definitely, he's taken his lumps now. I kind of want to see the Marvin Bagley redemption arc. I would like to kind of see him have a moment, and I think we're far enough removed from all the drama to where it's not going to hurt if Marvin Bagley turns it around, because it'll definitely be a situation where he had to go. He had to leave. He had to go through all he went through in order to come out on the other side. So I would actually feel really good if Marvin Bagley kind of did have a weird redemption arc here. Wouldn't be the most upsetting thing. Buddy, kick rocks, honestly. I was never really a Buddy guy. Yeah, for real. J. Ross, go get some sleep. This is wow, I'm really behind on this chat if y'all are still talking about J. Ross. But yeah, go get some sleep, J. Ross, please. Yeah, Matt comes to, I'm a man of the people, I'm your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. Don't you ever forget it. Okay. Matt George, my guy, look at him. He's over there. You guys can't see him, but he's sitting there by himself, grinding. Okay. Matt will come through anytime. J. Ross, please. Morgan, I'm going to get Morgan to stop by one day. She always walks by and she ready to go. I get it, but we're going to get an appearance here at some point. Steph Curry against us. Yeah, but no, for real. Yeah. HB came up clutch. He did. He definitely came up clutch tonight. Let's see here. Spurs hitting threes tonight, even though we had our guy. Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely had hands in their faces. Yeah, I don't think I posted a video on my Twitter of Pop talking with Mike Brown after the game. I don't think it was yelling. I thought that it was just I think those guys are really, really good buddies, and I think Pop was probably just giving him some advice. It kind of looked like it was a lot of hand gesturing and a lot of you can tell it was an emotional conversation, but I definitely don't think it was any sort of anger, or I wouldn't define it as yelling. What I would say is he was yelling at you know what? I guess here I am talking about this video, and I just found out I pulled it up on my phone and it never posted. So I guess somebody else must have posted it. I lost my shot at fame. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I don't think it was anything bad. I would say Pop yelled at the referees after the game. He immediately, after he dapped up Mike Brown, he said what's up to Doug Christie and another Kings assistant coach, and then immediately marched over to the three referees who were standing right at midcourt and yelled at them for about 30 to 45 seconds and kind of did a walk-off yell, turning his back, but then kind of looking over his shoulder and giving some last words. And I kind of saw the referee be like, okay, buddy, the game is over now. You can definitely go. So, I love Greg Popovich. He's an absolute legend. It would be an honor to be yelled at by Pop. I almost thought about going in the pregame presser and asking a question on the tiny chance that he just absolutely tore me one and was like, this is the dumbest question I've ever heard in my life. What are you doing here? What do you think the answer is? Are you serious? Who actually gave you a credential? I was kind of hoping that would happen. And it's kind of being yelled at by who's a famous executive or something. I don't know, Kanye West added me on Twitter or something. I don't know. That's the best I got. Nope. No word on whether Sasha is anywhere near recovery. Just from what's been public, the ankle twist, both ankles, I believe at this point it'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, maybe 3. I think it's 2 weeks away. But I would not expect any good news. We've talked about it before, but I just think that with both of his ankles being busted up and with him not being in the rotation before that happened, I just think when there's 10 games left or so, it's just a big ask to have Sasha inserted into the rotation at that point. Maybe he gets a couple moments, but if we're talking, let's hope Sasha can solidify a spot in the rotation and actually get playoff minutes, I think that ship has sailed. I think at this point you have to just kind of chalk Sasha's rookie season as an L and move on. and look for next year, because I'm not saying his career's over or anything, but you just got to kind of focus on next year. And this is apparently turning into a thing. I just saw Brendan walk up. I'm actually about to head out here too in a second. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I posted this. There we go. Just posted this on social media right now. So, yes, if you want to see Greg Popovich yelling at officials, you can head over to my Twitter right now. And at the, let's see here, at the 45-second mark, Greg Popovich walks over. Here, maybe I can screen share it. Let's see here. Let's try and get fancy before we get out of here. Let me also run through all of this before. I should not have made me laugh that much. I'm sorry. I'm a child. Oh, no. This is terrible. The NBA app kept freezing in the fourth, so went back and forth to Spurs and Kings announcers. Heard announcers say Pop and Brown were hugging, then heard Pop was letting Brown hear some choice words. Really? I mean, there's a good chance that, again, these guys are really, really close, and Pop is and Pop is, Pop's a character. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's like, and Mike, I'll tell you this. If I ever effing see you, not ripping into somebody for allowing back cuts or something, I'm going to tear you a new a-hole or something. I could definitely see that being what Pop was doing. So I would not think that it's anything malicious between the two. I would think it's definitely all in good spirits. And if there were some choice words thrown out there, I definitely don't think it's anything to make it newsworthy or anything. I just think that it's two old pals just kind of chumming it up after a game. Here is the video of here is the video of Greg Popovich. I will not share the sound. Greg Popovich and Mike Brown after the game here. Let's go back here. So yeah, as you can kind of see, well, and it's not sharing at all, so you can't see anything. There we go. Let's rewind this back here. Sorry. So yeah, you can see Mike Brown and Greg Popovich kind of talking. Puts his arm. They hug it out. Like there's nothing malicious here at all. I don't know where anyone's getting, Mike Brown getting yelled at, as you can see here in the beginning. So they're talking over here in the corner. It's definitely a serious conversation. See, you can kind of see Pop. It seems spirited. Pop, yeah, he some head jolts thrown in there for sure. But yeah, I think this is all about respect. They hug it out at the end. It's all love. Then you see some Kings assistants walk over. Here's Doug hugging Pop there. Not sure who this is, but again, you see him pointing very aggressively. This is Pop. This is what he does. He's an S talker. He's just a dude who keeps it real 24/7. And so here he is after talking with Kings assistants, immediately eyes down these referees and just hunts them. Now this is yelling. Okay, he's pointing. You can see him, that little shove there. Let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. Oh no, let's just not. Let's just let it play through. Pointing at him specifically, say, you messed it up. You can see the assistant try and pull him away. There's the turnaround right there. He's got some extra words. And right there, little Gucci ref here is like, okay, buddy. He's like, all right, buddy. He's okay. Bob's got some last barks for him. And they separate. So I absolutely love Greg Popovich. That is the living legend that is Greg Popovich. I loved it. I absolutely love that moment from Pop, and I love that him and Mike Brown are so close, because I think that you really cannot have a better mentor in the NBA than Greg Popovich. So I love that he's on our side. And he was like, hold up, let me talk to these officials real quick before going into the locker room. He was like, I am not going to go to sleep tonight with these thoughts in my head without them being vocalized. That was Gran Torino, get off my lawn. Pop definitely, when he retires, is either going to be like the super chill old neighbor who like all the kids go over and are like, he's going to be like the big bad, what is it in Sandlot? They're all afraid of Zeus, the dog. And then they like get over the fence and they kill the dog, but they find out the dog is actually really nice. That's Greg Popovich. He's going to be the guy that everybody thinks is with Clint Eastwood in Gran Turismo or whatever, Gran Torino. But then they're actually going to meet him and be like, oh no, this guy is like the most chill vibe on planet Earth. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pop he's the OG. And I know I'm actually really curious because I know he has these infamous dinners with former staffers and former players where he takes them out. I know I said Gran Turismo. He has these dinners where he takes out former players and former assistants. And, Pop is apparently a really big wine guy and will always buy the most expensive bottle of wine in the restaurant. And they'll share stories and really just everything that you would want from sitting around a table of NBA legends is apparently like those dinners are notorious for just being absolutely incredible. No, I didn't, Manny. I'm closing out right here. I know I've been kind of slacking on this. I need you guys to hold me accountable. Did I do my 3 stars? I did not. I have not done my 3 stars, but I will do them right now because we are pushing on an hour-long live stream, which I do believe is the longest live stream of the year. But this was the most exciting game of the year, so it only feels right. Let's see here. 3 stars of the night. Who is my first star going to? That's really the only question I have. I mean, I want to get it's between Malik and De'Aaron. Honestly, if I'm giving De'Aaron 1 star, it's to be cute because I'm going to make some grander point about Malik. But no, I'm going to give Malik the 1 star tonight. 18 points, 8 assists, 7 boards, 6 turnovers. Not great. 2 of 7 from 3, but hit the biggest 3 maybe of the season so far, which is crazy to say in a home game against the Spurs without Wemby. But I'm telling you, if that 3 doesn't go in and the Kings lose this game, the emotions that we're feeling right now, the emotions feeling for the rest of the season, who knows how much different all of that is. So I think Malik hitting that 3 really does change a lot for the outlook of right now. And I think, that's tonight is an exact reason why you have a guy like Malik Monk out there to close games. You need somebody who's got the brass, you know what I want to say, who's got the fortitude to take and make a shot like that. Malik was also a team high. I'm sorry, not a team high. Shout out, was it Trey Lyles Keon Ellis was a team high plus 15. Malik was second highest on the team with a plus 13. I actually, looking back at it, I would love to give Keon Ellis the 1 star tonight. I'll give him an honorable mention. 11 points, 2 steals. Yes, they did give him credit for 2 steals. 2 steals, 2 rebounds, one of those offensive. 3 of 5 from 3 tonight, which is huge for Keon. 11 points, and just was my favorite player out there tonight. I love Keon's game. He is the plus-minus king. That is so true. Yesterday he was plus 16, I think. When he's out there, the team is better. That's at the end of the day. You can hate plus-minus, you can love plus-minus, but it tells you that if Keon Ellis, if it's so drastically good with Keon, so much better than everybody else, that just tells you when Keon Ellis is out on the floor, the Kings tend to play their best basketball. So again, in hindsight, I'd probably give Keon that 1 star, but I'll give him an honorable mention. De'Aaron, I'm going to give 2 stars to. Unfortunately, he fouls out tonight. He had 33, only hit 1 3, 1 of 7, 14 of 32 tonight. He was 16 of 32 last night. 3 steals for De'Aaron. He was great. I mean, he was great tonight. Continued to attack the rim. I don't know how many points in the paint he finished with tonight, but only hitting 1 3. I would assume he probably hit 10 in the paint. He was really, really good. Continuation of yesterday. In fact, he had 76 points. He had 44 yesterday, 77 points in 24 hours. That's incredible. Just absolutely incredible. No wear, no rust, no No second night of back-to-back isms tonight. Domantas Sabonis, of course, is getting my 3 stars. I'm going to give it to him for getting that steal at the end of the game. Honestly, is what sealed it. 17 boards for him, absolutely nuts. It's kind of regular at this point. 9 assists, 4 turnovers. Almost got a triple-double. We know that he likes to flirt with those these days. A great game. And again, I think that was an actual MVP moment from Sabonis, and I would definitely say that should be played on every single NBA TV. It should be played on ESPN, all of it. And I hope Domantas Sabonis gets some credit because he's been terrific. He's been terrific all year long. 31 points, 17 boards, 9 assists on 14 of 19 from the field. It sounds like a video game number, but it's just another night for Domantas Sabonis. Thank you all so much for hopping in tonight. I'm going to get on out of here. We've been on here for an hour. Got tons of people tuning in. I don't want to leave y'all when there's so many people in here, but I do have to get ready for tomorrow. Joining me, Styles and Watkins, 10 to 2 tomorrow. Brendan Nunez will be with me for the entirety of the show. You can check me out there. And if you can't make it tomorrow, check us out on Sunday after the Houston Rockets game. That is a 3 o'clock tip. So we'll probably be on here around 5:30, 5:45, 6 o'clock. So should be a fun one there. And hopefully the Kings can get some revenge because they have not played Houston since the beginning of the year in Houston when they lost 2 in a row to them. So they better have some revenge on their mind Sunday afternoon. Y'all have a terrific night. And, absolutely enjoy your Friday. And I'll see you either tomorrow or see you Sunday.